My name is Rodrigo Pacheco.
My name is Cristina Bowerman.
My name is Fatmata Binta.
I am the founder of Boca Valdivia and Foresta and FAO Goodwill Ambassador. My passion is to utilize gastronomy as a tool for environmental transformation with the capacity of restoring and protecting and also strengthening ecosystems and cultures.
I've always been very passionate about three topics: gender equality, farming, and sustainability. So I've been trying to follow all these three things in my life. And being here at FAO, of course, farming is probably the most important thing. In my restaurant, I adopted a bunch of farmers that I collaborate with, and I try to use their product, but also to educate people on their product.
I'm very passionate about African gastronomy and also indigenous food systems in Africa. And I founded a restaurant called Dine on a Mat. Our main goal is to create vibrant dishes inspired by culinary traditions in Africa and also storytelling. So my restaurant serves as an invitation for my guests to step outside of their comfort zone and explore flavor and sustenance through the palates of indigenous women.
I consider the indigenous wisdom a real source of inspiration for gastronomy, and I think the more I hang out with indigenous people from all over the world, the more I feel like I've been choosing this path of learning from them on many things related to the adaptation and the resilience on how they manage and the agri-food systems, and they have been doing this for thousands of years. And for some reason, the world is ignoring this at some point. And I think as chefs, we do carry this responsibility as individuals and also collectively to inspire other people and other chefs about recognizing First Nations, indigenous people from all over the world, and the importance of all the examples that they have been providing us for thousands of years. And an example of this, I just wanted to share with you this is a preparation that is inspiring the howler monkey, which is a critically endangered species present in our forests as the part of the project of the largest biodiverse edible forest in the world. And for our ancestor, the monkey represented an old spirit, one of the oldest spirits for them. So it's a very sacred animal. And for us, it's very sacred at the moment too, because it's a critically endangered species. So we wanted to bring some of that interpretation of nature and the cosmovision of these indigenous cultures that inhabited Ecuador for thousands of years, and bring this to a version that is easy to understand and to interpret it for a child, for anybody. That's why we created this gummy. It's a howler monkey gummy, and made of cacao as a main ingredient, as a star crop, because Ecuador has a very important cacao, fine aroma cacao. But then we also live in a universe that is edible. And sometimes we don't recognize the food that comes from the leaves, the wild plants, and many unknown food for chefs and even for society. So I wanted to utilize all that generosity that nature provides us and complement the flavors and the color of the cacao with this, making a statement and also creating a bite that is delicious and nutritious for the planet, but also for the people.
So basically what you're doing is that you're using all the products of the place, of the forest where these monkeys live?
Yes. Yes.
I really love this. I really love what you're doing,
too.
because it's not just also promoting the food and this very beautiful and powerful story on this particular ingredient, but also you are creating something fun and exciting, because kids can easily connect to this and they are the future. So it's very easy to pass that knowledge down. It's like a generational thing. You're learning from your ancestors. You're passing the knowledge down to the kids who are the future. And I think also as chefs is so important, because we have a platform. And then sometimes it's the simplest affordable ingredients that can make change. Because if you can use that and use your platform and reach the public, that knowledge passes down. Plus we get to collaborate. which is truly inspiring. So I really admire your work.
How about the passion generation you were talking about? That is like something that I think you probably do all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. I work a lot with forgotten foods, which also ties into, a story like what you're sharing with us now. And I believe our ancestors, have cultivated an intricate relationship, with their environment, shaping landscape, also enriching biodiversity, which is a huge topic now for us, especially chefs who are working directly with nature. So for me, it's very important to promote underutilized foods from Africa because we have lots of those, and also creating stories, around it, because I'm documenting a lot. I'm engaging with these women. I see Indigenous women as a school for me because I go there, they carry so much wealth of knowledge, and I take all this knowledge and then share it, on my platform or through my dinner series. Because the thing about forgotten foods, it doesn't only, enrich diversity when it comes to ingredients, but also nutrients, flavors, culinary techniques, best practices, and preserving indigenous knowledge, which I think it's truly important and special for us moving forward. And that goes back into farmers, because you work closely with farmers in your community, which is really important. I would love to hear more about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But you are absolutely right. You're talking about forgotten foods, and while you were talking, I was thinking, it's like, why did it get forgotten in the first place? Because sometimes I think that modern society has taken over, and in Italy especially, we are having this problem. We don't actually pass from one generation to another. Modernization has kind of like spoiled the romantic view that people have about Italian traditions.
That's true.
So one of the biggest problems in reality is the desertification of the countryside, and there are like less and less farmers because they can't make enough money, because the new generation is not interested. But you were talking about the fact that we are an echo chamber. We have a platform. And so I asked myself, how can I actually help out? I come from the South, so I grew up with fruits and vegetables that I don't see them anymore.
Wow.
Like, for instance, a cedro. I don't find them anymore. And I mean, I still remember very vividly the smell, the flavor, everything. And I've been one of the founder and president of a national association at the time, about at this point 8 years ago. I launched this program that I keep on pushing through Chef's Manifestos,
Yeah.
And every time I have a platform, I push it, because for me it's it's easy.
Yeah.
Doesn't cost any money.
True.
And it kind of fulfills two aspects. One is the educational part, and the other is support of the farmer. This one is a guy and actually a couple that started to examine and study a trombolotto. If you ask anybody in this region what trombolotto is, probably very few people know what it is. It's a special citrus. So they started to do several products, among which this particular oil, and you can smell it. You can smell the citrus. It's wonderful. So I fell in love with this, and I said, you know what? I'm gonna help you out, and you're gonna help me out. So Adopt a Farmer is exactly, this. You talk about the product, so you talk to your clients, you talk to everyone that you come across about the product, and then, thank you, and then you buy it. So you, in a certain way, you guarantee to the farmer that he can be all right, that there will be at least some money coming from me, coming in. And with that, Diana, I started to extend it. So for instance, mushroom farmers, and I have several cheese farmers and so on. So what I do is that, or herbs, salads, I guarantee them that I buy them, which is an old concept. I mean, I remember even 10 years ago, people were already doing this. But doing it in Italy kind of seemed odd in the beginning, because people have this romantic idea of Italian traditions. So I started to do it. Honestly, everybody likes it. You find it easy to actually follow through. And sometimes you can pride yourself. Like, for instance, in my particular case, my mushrooms farmer, I said, yes, okay, I'm going to buy all your crop of lion's mane, but I have to be the only one to have it.
That's interesting, because you're also creating a relationship with the farmers. and bringing them along. Because most times as chefs, we take the credit, but we are not the one growing the food.
Absolutely.
And the farmers are so important. We need to bring them along.
Absolutely.
We need to bring their voices along because without them, there is no food.
They represent a third of the world food production.
Exactly.
So they are called smallholder farmers, but at the same time, they are a third of the source of the food. So the fact that we utilize their products, it means that we have a sort of way of representing their work and the value chain that starts from there, from the ground, from the soil, and that then we as chefs continue by conveying a message and telling a story about their work as well through our creativity.
Exactly. And then we not only help foster delicious food, nutritious food, or sustainability, but we also help, create an economic growth for the farmers. Also equality, because from my parts of the world, we don't have enough women farmers. It's mostly men that farm, or mostly men own the best land. Like some of the crops I promote, it's it's grow in arid areas because they usually give the women the most drought, areas, the most arid
the worst
areas.
ones.
Exactly. But they end up growing the most amazing crops. So I think it's really important to connect with farmers more, to have a really, collaborative relationship with them. And we can check all these boxes and move forward. And also it helps, the health of us as people and also the health of our planet.
Absolutely. Even because it's important not only to, think about nutrition, nutritional values, but it's also important to respect what your earth, what your land is giving you before actually getting something from somewhere else.
Absolutely.
One thing I wanted to add, and then is important, is that the farmers also have been transmitting information about ancestral products that might be in the verge of vanishing, and this is going at an unprecedented rhythm. So there's a lot of forgotten crops, and you might want to tell us more about those, because I know that you are doing such a great and important job in reinstalling these ancestral crops and providing a source of nutrition for many people. So.
Yeah. So one of the grains I actually promote, and I'm very passionate about, I have a personal story with, but I will not bring that up here. There's a video for it on at FAO platform. It's called fonio, which is an ancient grain. It's actually part of the millet family. It's a very special grain. It's gluten-free. It grows really fast. But there are challenges also because they are still stuck in the traditional ways of processing. And this is the thing, tradition, sustainable practices, indigenous food systems, they are super amazing. But sometimes we have to take what's sustainable and then we have to also create space for transformation. Because one reason why that grain hasn't taken off is because they are still processing it the traditional way and it's very tedious. So one of the collaborations I have with FAO is to train these women on the better production area, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. And also mechanization is part of all these four betters, because for them to be able to grow more, for the world to hear more about fonio, for me to be able to send you a pack in Italy, send you a pack in Ecuador, it needs to take off because it's still being grown just for sustenance in very, very small scale. And this is the other thing. Small scale farming is good, but there should be room for large scale, because that's the only way,
we have
farmers can benefit.
We have the same problem because there are certain ingredients of our diet, the Mediterranean diet, that have always been on our parents' and grandparents' tables, and now they disappeared for several reasons. Some of them tied up also to what you were saying. So I've been promoting now, even through Chef's Manifesto, beans in general, legumes, which, by the way, we have like an incredible number of legumes, from beans to lentils, peas, and I adore chickpeas. Chickpeas is like, for me, it's the best. So sometimes even when I go to teach to kids or do lessons and so on, and in my menu, I always try to put legumes. And in a modern way, because the excuse is always, it takes a long time to cook it.
Yeah.
And I always say, you know what? I don't care if you buy them already steamed, but as long as you buy them. Because legumes are not only an incredible nutritional value and a source, but also they are very good to the earth because they are considered one of those regenerative products.
Well, we need to promote these kind of products that are resilient, that are drought resistant, that are easy to grow anywhere in the world. I actually experienced growing the fonio in Ecuador within the forest, and everything just
amazing
sprouted really, really nicely.
That's
so
really good.
We have an enormous responsibility in order to utilize these and to promote this and to use our voice for a good purpose. Greater than just creating a beautiful and delicious dish, but more to transform positively transform our surrounding universe.
So we need to use our platform, like you were saying.
Diversity. We need to diversify more. Because the more we diversify food, the more we diversify nutrition. You know?
Absolutely.
So we need to.
What a great conversation.
I know.
Thank you.
Well, next time, though, we cook together, okay?
We have to.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.